So, last video of the evening, my phone battery was down to 1% at the last waterfalls. So, I got to enjoy a little bit more time with my sister, and my dad got some rest a little bit while we were out. And today, I feel like the theme that came up was truly misery loves company, but so does joy and so does happiness. But the question is, where is your focus? Now, when I was younger, I know that patterns I picked up, albeit I adopted them from my family, the stories, their behaviors. We learn the way we behave through the environment we are growing up in, and the people who influence us the most are the ones we spend the most time with. We may admire people and not even realize that sometimes the admiration goes a little bit deeper than just looking at them with loving eyes and adoration. It can be, wow, you pick up mannerisms, behaviors, beliefs. And those patterns continue throughout our lives, but how often are you willing? I know for myself, I've had to be willing to recognize, pick that one up. I see exactly where that came from. Is it my story? Confrontation of your own beliefs is the most important thing you'll ever do in your life. So when I was younger, and even I still catch myself. I'm still trying to harness and grow and evolve. I don't think this is ever going to go away until I go away. I know how easily influenced I could be by my environment. That if I was with somebody who's very positive and uplifting, then of course it was very much magnetic and would inspire and uplift me. And I would also tend to behave that way. And even growing up around people who I admired, I adored my Auntie Barbara. She was very much about taking care of her body, about taking care of her family. There was just something about her that mesmerized me and wanted me to be like that, wanted me to take care of myself. She inspired that for me. As I admired my mom and my dad in different ways. My mom and my dad weren't as physically active as we children were. We typically were outside most of the time. You had to pretty much force us, find ways to get us inside because we liked to be outside. We loved being in nature. Something that maybe a lot of kids today are not privileged to really appreciate the way maybe some of us have. And there are still quite a few children. I know this isn't lost on anybody. But technology's taken over so much that when I see my sister with my niece and how much she struggles with trying to get her off of her gaming systems and technology and tear away from the television, and how I remember, we had our stuff. Oh my gosh, what did we have? Commodore 64 with Space Invaders. My dad had a pizzeria sub shop and then also had a pinball machine and arcade set gaming thing going on as well, then a pool hall. But at the same time, I would prefer to be outside climbing trees. Little things like going out in the woods and traipsing through and looking at the greenery, the plants, the moss, the bees, the birds, the butterflies, the bugs, the spiders, the critters. So fascinating as a child. And then bringing home flowers for my mom. You put yourself in the right space and you can find things to appreciate and admire. Now, let's switch that. Growing up, there was also the balance. I mean, there was a lot of negative things too, but, children can find the good in a lot of what's going on. But even through some of that hard stuff and that negative stuff, you can find yourself still latching onto it and becoming jaded Okay, my mom used to say she never wanted to be like those little old ladies who were bitter. She said, I just always want to be happy. And then I remember one time her saying, I get it. I understand why they're bitter now. Now, bitter isn't better, by the way. It's basically that seething within, that inability to release whatever that expectation, attachment, whatever it is that's within. And we never know, except for ourselves, what is going on with another. So choosing your environment and the people you hang around with wisely is super important, but also paying attention to yourself and your inner dialogue and your own frustrations, your own impatience with self, because we're never impatient with other people. It's really with ourselves. But you gotta see it to understand it and see where it originates. I remember being on the phone with my sister one time, and she was so upset, and she started to go off on about this Walmart employee and then my mom and such. And I actually was able to have a really deep, simple conversation and ask her, okay, Lita, well, where did this originate? Was it really Mom? Was it really this woman? And she was able to say, no, I was just frustrated because of this. In the morning I woke up and something bothered me. And then Mom, on top of that, this is what happens. If we can trace things back to their origin, that the negativity, the impatience, whatever it is, started within myself, within yourself, that is where it spirals. If you're fixated on that negativity and you can't snap out of it, you got to find something to snap out of it. Because if you get fixated, the moment you're fixated, you've created this domino effect for more to come to you. Just like the first thing when you get up out of bed, really just find something to be grateful for. As simple as the breath. The most important thing and the simplest thing that you have available to you is your prana, your life force. Nothing can take that away from you, except for you. And, certain things that will occur in life. But, that is your gift first thing in the morning. If you are able to recognize how simple your body is able to sustain and maintain you, you don't even have to think about it, although the more you are engaged with it and present with it, the more you can, again, I'll go through my master your breath, master your mind, master your life, because that's all about being present. That is about the gift. That is about getting out of the shit out there, the stuff that you think is out there, but is really inside. Because everything starts with self. Power versus Force by Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins. One of the best books I ever read. Because it reminded me that patience starts with self, which ultimately means everything starts with self. And if you don't go within, you will go without. And truly, nobody is forcing you to do anything you don't want to do. Even if someone suggests something to you and you resist it, it's really it's your own stuff. It's like, oh, I don't want anybody else to tell me. That's when you're so strongly set on our belief systems, we're unwilling to take any type of advice. And why is it that misery loves company? Why is that? Why does misery want company instead of choosing happiness? Because it's a resistance to anybody else being right. And your inability to open yourself to dropping your own need to be right and simply be happy. Misery is all about sitting and wallowing in your own crap and wanting everybody to join in because you feel bad. You want everybody else to feel bad. Instead of recognizing, gosh, I feel horrible. Why would I want to feel this way? Somehow there's something fascinating about this. I feel like crap. I want you to feel like crap, even though most of the time people are doing it unconsciously. So you throw a drama scene or whatever scene you throw, that if I feel bad, everybody else around me should suffer. And that in itself is a belief that is so unconscious a lot of times. Sometimes you are aware of it, sometimes you're not. But if you can recognize when you're in your misery states and how you're trying to drag others into it, you can just as easily choose to change that. And that's where change happens, shift happens, when you are willing to turn around and change the way you respond to your own inner dialogue, your own inner crap, confront it. Lay yourself out on the table. Be authentic. Be raw and authentically you. You be you. If it means saying, hey, I'm just unhappy, I'm miserable, I'm sorry, I don't mean to impose it upon you, but this is just where I am. Just own that crap. The more you're willing to own it, the easier it is to let it go. And it will go. The more you're resisting even the ownership of it or the recognizing of it, or even just going, you got to honor everything that you're going through. And so with that said, the reason this came up was because I've been struggling with some of my dad's old patterns, and most of it is what I witness is I feel he's having difficulty in communicating or speaking up or feeling obliged to be a certain way when he doesn't understand how to communicate. And this really is like a regression as far as I'm witnessing it, because as he's gotten older, I'm concerned. I'm concerned for him. I'm concerned for my sister. I look at what everybody's going through. I don't have everybody's answers, but I'm aware and I'm available, and I am available the best way I can be. But I struggle too. And for myself, when I'm around negativity, it depends on the environment. So for me, as far as negativity, when I'm around it, depending on whoever it is, whether it's family or friends, it's a lot easier, I will attest, to be around friends because I can soften around that a little bit easier. In the past, I can tell you that it wasn't so easy. In fact, if I was around too much of it, I'd catch myself becoming toxic. I would catch myself becoming part of the same pattern and just either chiming in with the same negative statements or going along to support whatever that was negative vibe was. But as I've gotten older and with my own inner reflection, what I found, and friends are more accepting of you calling them on their negativity. So I'm blessed to have decent girlfriends and friends that I know that if they go on a tangent or something, we have explicit agreements, spoken and unspoken, that if one of us continues talking about something, we'll listen to it the first time. Beyond that, we try to remind each other that now you're carrying it forward and you're constantly stuck in that energy. So with family, it's different. And here's the difference. And what I've been observing is that, interestingly enough, with family, they'll see you as not being loyal. They'll almost be like, how dare she even call me on my stuff? She's supposed to be loyal to me. And I was realizing this today because as I was thinking about it, I love my family. I, of course, would defend, and I'm like the oldest daughter. I'm the one who will speak up and show up as needed. And the thing is, though, I love my family. And as the peacekeeper between my parents growing up, one of the things I used to say, because my parents would try to pit one against the other. Oh, you love your mother more than me. Oh, you love your father more than me. I didn't have any of that. I was very much the neutral. Listen, you both got your crap. You're not perfect, but I love you both equally. And I don't love either one of you more than the other. So I was very much the peacekeeper, but also very distinct and diplomatic in my way of handling them. Now, fast forward, as Mom passed last year, and you know what? Over the years, I am more than willing to listen. But every once in a while, I will also speak up and say, listen, you're talking about something and you're not any better, or just using an example, I personally have come to a realization that we have to really observe our own words and our own discerning judgment or comments or statements, because I recognize how hypocritical we can become from my own self and what I've observed with my friends and family. It's very easy to talk about something or to say someone else is judgmental, but guess what? You're judging to say someone's judgmental. So why bother even saying anything about what somebody else is being judgmental about when you're judging them? And two wrongs don't make a right, and two rights don't make a wrong. It's like, can we really have a conversation around this? The negativity is in the focusing on pointing fingers and blaming and shaming, and how everyone's doing things to you versus you taking personal responsibility and accountability. And this whole negativity vibe, that for me, and when it becomes really toxic, I have to, I'm still working on being around it. If I have to be in it, I have to find a place of peace within myself. What I have found myself doing, especially this past week, is that I have to sit in silence, because I find it safer for myself, first off. And second, because maybe it's better I just observe and just be there. But I really try to keep from enabling negativity around me. Although, sometimes, and you can attest to this, I'm sure, when you're around certain family members, maybe there's an old pattern of conversation that you can get into, and how you can go off on the tangent of the negativities of this or that. And so you're just both basically bantering back and forth, but there's no solution that comes from it. So this is the big key for me with negativity and toxic negativity and behavior. If you're complaining about something and you have no solution, it's pointless jibber jabber. It is not healthy. It is not solving anything. It is not serving anyone. That's when you gotta recognize and really pay attention to your dialogue, to your thoughts, because none of that's going to help you in your life if you're just caught up in something that doesn't even have anything to do with you. So much I've seen in our country, or in the world, on the news, in the news, even social media. We talk about stuff and it's so insignificant to ourselves. It doesn't even affect us. Whatever it is, if it isn't affecting you, don't give it your energy. Don't give it your attention. That's total waste. It's unhealthy. If it's something that's serving you, it uplifts you, makes you feel better, inspires you in your life, now that is different. That is where you need to put your focus, because where your passion is where you want it to grow. You want to flow all that energy in the direction that will also serve others. So negativity, you know what that feels like, and it doesn't feel good in your body, does it? So if we were really to just kind of tune into it, my neck has been jacked since I woke up this morning. It's hurt to move it. Oh, I took some magnesium before, and honestly, it's all up in here. A couple things that cause that for me: stress, too much coffee, caffeine. I have to monitor myself. Grinding my teeth at night, which is part of the stress. It tightens the muscles around my neck. It travels down in my back. It's all the way down. I mean, my back is so stiff. And tomorrow I fly. So for me, I know that I physically have taken on a lot of crap that I didn't need to. And I've been comfort eating. I'm like, dude, okay, time for chocolate chip gluten-free cookie. Double chocolate. It's got coffee in it too. My niece turned me on to those, I'm just saying. I think that's enough talk. But I just want to put that little bug in your ear that for anybody out there, you just need to really become hyper hyper focused on your own inner dialogue, as well as the words you speak and the people and the space that you keep in your environment, because that is a key. They say that we are the sum of, the 3 people we hang out with the most. So if you're hanging out with people that are toxic, or you're not expanding your scope, your awareness, the people and the places and the things that you do and that you make time for, then it might be time to change up a little optimal reset. Because ultimately, your life depends on it. And so you know, life is short. And I want to see each and every one of you happy, healthy, and holy. And I say holy, WHOLELY. Whole. In your mind, body, and soul. Alchemize. Turn everything you do into an act of self-care, self-love. Because when you work on you, there's nothing else you need to do, because it just ripples out, radiates, and you uplift and inspire and support others just through your own inspired living. So get some sweet dreams. Create a sacred space, always. And start with you in the heart. I love you. Good night.